Good morning. Hope everyone is having a good weekend. I've got my co-pilot is en route. You can see the empty chair, so she'll be sliding up across the rug here in a second. There she is. There she comes. So hey, we appreciate all of you joining Jill and I this morning. We got some good things we're going to talk about. We'll have a fun session. It will not go over an hour. So hopefully you are where you can pay attention. We do also record these, but to me, I think it's good if you are in a position where you can go ahead and maybe make some notes and write it down as you're hearing things and points and thinking about those adjustments you might could make to your business. Then that's really good to do. So. And then that way you can go back and review the notes. But we do send this out to all the VPs in the hierarchy. So you can get with your RVP and you want to get a copy of this. We also, by the way, let me go ahead and talk about this. I get sidetracked easily, okay? But one of the things that I was thinking about is we have our app, our hierarchy app. Now I know Mike has Mike Landrum, my brother, has an app, and several of our guys. I think James Torian has an app for his team. But anyway, I have one for our whole hierarchy, and it's called Landrum International. And if you would like to download the app, then just let us know, and you could shoot Rose an email, let your RVP know. We have a very detailed instruction sheet that we can get you. That way you can download the app. But man, this app is incredible. You know, we put recognition on the homepage for all the different people that, you know, get watches and rings and RVP promotions, etc. But the other thing, if you go to there's the tabs across the bottom, other than the home page, you go to media, you can click on media, and I tell you, there's one tab that says once you go to media, featured Zoom training, and man, you click on that, and it's got everything from Jill and I, different things that we have shared, but then the ICT session with me and my brother Mike, but I mean Steve Barger, company overview with Jared Nelson, Builders Boot Camp, Mike Landrum, Steve Barger, lessons learned from a buffalo. That was Jill. Okay.
It's supposed to be a bison.
A bison. Oh, well. It's bison. It's bison. Building your business bill of render. We've got Mike Tuttle on there, Chris Taluli, starting strong, Daniel Brillo. Guys, I mean, man, Mike Tuttle, you can go, Mike Landrum, Drill for Skills. I mean, just that one tab under media and go to featured Zoom trainings, and we constantly add, if we have like a really great session, which we do every week. No, I'm kidding. But if we have a really great session, then we can load that on there. And so anyway, to me, man, people should download the Primerica app, but then also download this app as just a builder's tool. And so anyway, that's just a side note. Hey, I do want to recognize Larry O'Connor's got a lady, a wonderful lady, Jerry Berry, and she just made a senior rep yesterday. And you know, the one of the points I want to make on that is if everyone, you know, senior rep's a big deal. District leader is a big deal. What's district leader? Typically, it's 3-term sales and 3 recruits, right? 3 by 3. And even your field trainer can do the work for you. All you got to do is put them in front of people, and then you sit there and look smart and act like you know what they're talking about. But if you go hear that over and over, that repetition of listening and learning And then next thing you know, you're doing it on your own. And by the way, while I'm talking about that, I want to congratulate Jerry Berry. Senior rep is a big deal. District leader, I tell you what, if people understood really the power of a district leader is you double your contract from rep to district. It's double. It's like 50% commission on term insurance. And then, the different, you make different things on different, services we offer. But speaking of that, I always talk about, the promotion guidelines and how powerful it is to have this, that as a new rep, we can tell them day one what they have to do to get their promotion all the way to regional vice president, to where you're a head coach. There's no junior VP. Every VP in our hierarchy has my contract, right? I have the RVP contract, 110%. Every VP has the same one. We all report to the home office, and they administrate our business. But just to have that in print, and no politics, no glass ceiling, et cetera. But the thing about I want to say about the guidelines is, if you think about it, the guideline, I see people that are kind of like, say, man, these guidelines are really good. Well, you understand, really, in a sense, you almost need to look at it as an enemy, right? That you attack the guidelines. Don't be warm and cozy with them, man. Overcome them, because that's the thing standing between you and your dream are these guidelines. So, man, what's the most important promotion? Your next one, right? Wherever you are in this business, folks. I mean, man, look, don't play around with it. Let's go get your next promotion. And then as soon as you get that, let's sit down and talk about, okay, now what, right? I did probably an hour and a half session this week with Chris Tallulah out in Texas. And Chris, we talked about his goals, how to go from where he is now. And his goal for the convention is to be at 500K in income. And, we had an hour and a half, a one-on-one session with him on that. So, let's talk, let's communicate, and really narrow down, like Chris, we probably talked about 20 different adjustments that he could make to his engine to get it running smoother and bigger and better. And then, we'll probably do it again in a couple of months, or whatever, or next month. But so anyway, I just want to say that on the guidelines, get your next promotion, and that'll be good. It's a great time of year to go for it. It's a great time of year because, man, next month is December. We closed out November last night on the computer. And so now, I'm sorry, October. So now, we've got November, but next month, will be December. People are beginning to think about, what happened in their life in 2021 and thinking about 2022. And it's a perfect time for you to go on a run right now. I'd go ahead and start right now and, start communicating with people. Hey, look, I'm doing this, been doing this a month or 10 years, doesn't matter. The message should be the same, but look, I'm really looking at 2022 and really making a run right now. And I'd like to get with you. Maybe, I'd like to hear more about your life too, kind of where you're at, and maybe we can help each other. Maybe we could come up with something that I might be able to help you, or maybe you can help me, right? In some way, just make it a win-win for both of us. Like just sit down and have a cup of coffee next week. And anyway, the other thing I was going to mention, Jill and I just got back from Knoxville, Tennessee, basically up in the Smoky Mountains. We were up there with the O'Connors, Larry and his son Will, and their wives Kelly and Bernadette, and had a few days up there. And one thing I was telling Jill, it kind of hit me after we got home. Was that yesterday, day before yesterday, right?
I don't know.
But anyway,
Maybe.
but the thing that I was thinking about is, you know, of course, I love the mountains, and you know, I've been going to the Smoky Mountains for 60 years. My dad used to take us as kids. We'd go up in the Smokies all the time. You know, beautiful hiking, and you know, just you know, Gatlinburg. I always tell people you can buy everything from a Velvet Elvis to nunchucks, right? So yeah, but anyway. But you know, and then we started taking our kids. We would take our kids probably 2 to 4 times a year and go up there and get a cabin on the side of a mountain. And so anyway, and I told Jill when I got home, because we're doing an expansion now in Knoxville with the O'Connors and you know Ralph and all that. But we've got an expansion there. And you know what? I told Jill, I said, you know, I've really been wanting to. I've been wanting to do something up there for 35 years, right? And you know what's exciting is that in Primerica, like now, we're doing that. You know, we may even buy a place up there or whatever. And you know, first of all, to be like my agent and to be able to set new goals and all that, not being put out to pasture, you know, by corporate America. Then that's a big deal. As a matter of fact, one thing I told Jill, I said, you know, I've been coming up for 60 years. As a matter of fact, I drank my first Mountain Dew, right? In the Smoky Mountains. I was just a kid. I just couldn't get over the Mountain Dew. And now I understand the caffeine is what really gave me the buzz, right? Has so much caffeine in it. But anyway, but that's fun, you know, but the O'Connors, you know, I think Larry, like the last 10 people they've recruited, they've got like 100% licensed or whatever, some number like that. But we're excited. We're gonna build something big up in the Knoxville market, and so excited about that. Also, give me that box, Jill. Also, I want to recognize a gentleman that's on here this morning, and Mr. Mike Neighbors. Yeah, you can open it. Mr. Mike Neighbors, and he got his 50K watch here, beautiful watch.
And they give you the keychain that give you the ring, tells you what to go for.
I think I saw that this morning. It's a keychain that has the 100K ring on it. And so so Mike, we're proud of you, man. And you're building. The guy, Mike Neighbors, he shows up and he works. I mean, you don't ever have to think about is Mike on it, because he's on it. He's focused and going to be big. So congratulations, Mike. One thing I do want to say, as far as our base shop, next weekend we're going to do our annual compliance on Saturday. We're going to start at 9 a.m. Central Time instead of 10. We've got to go a little bit longer, and then after that, investment license reps need to do their compliance on the investment side of the business. So it'll be, I would prepare, I asked Rose how many, how long is it going to take? I don't know, you know, 2 hours, 3 hours on everything, right? We should be able to knock it all out by noon Central. So we'll start at 9 on this Zoom. I'm going to host it. And then also we're going to do one this next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central. Okay, we're not going to do the investment ACM annual compliance meeting. We're just going to do it the regular for insurance licensed folks. And so that's going to be at 4 p.m. on this Zoom this coming Wednesday. So if you've got people that can't do Saturday, I know the O'Connors have a couple of people that can't do it Saturday. We're going to do another one on Wednesday. So you can take your pick, Wednesday at 4 or Saturday at 9. Okay, all Central Time. So that'll be good. The other thing, I was looking when I got home. They always put all my things that come in from the home office on my desk. And you know, I know we've already talked about this, but Forbes, naming Primerica, our term insurance company, as one of America's best insurance companies. And I just think about the credibility, folks. I mean, that we've got now. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but good Lord, compared to what we used to be, and thinking about, I was thinking about our company stock that, here we're 11 years ago, it was $15 a share, right? Yesterday, it closed at 177 a share, right? 11 years later. So, man, that's incredible. And, when you get to RBP, right, and you hit the numbers a certain way, then you get stock. I don't know if it's still 15,000 or whatever, 12.5, whatever, but $15,000 worth of stock. Not only you get it, the new RBP, but whoever promoted you gets it. And then every quarter, the company does a stock grant that you earn based on the number of people you're recruiting and building and getting licensed and getting promoted, that the company gives you free stock, and it's 100% vested day one. So every 90 days, they do another grant. And, people can really get as much of that as you want. There's no ceiling to it. The only ceiling is if you choose not to build. I mean, to me, the company is saying, go build your company within a company. And, oh yeah, by the way, not only will we give you an unlimited comp system, but we'll also add company stock in there that you can, we incent you to build your company that you're going to own, that you're building up equity in. And so to me, that's just incredible. And looking at the company's incomes of the leaders, just record person after person after person. They're out there, putting the people that put their hand to the plow in the right way. If you're not getting results, there's just a little adjustment that needs to be made. Maybe 20 adjustments, maybe only 2, right? Could be 1 adjustment. And but let's figure out what that is, and then let's get the show on the road and be a part of what's happening. Because guys, I do think, I really do. I don't believe in hype. Those of you who know me, unless I believe it, I'm not gonna say it. That's why I don't tell people you're going to be big if I don't feel it, right? If I don't believe it. And so, but anyway, I forgot what I was going to say now. Dadgummit. But anyway, it was something about
Record incomes.
Record income. But anyway, let's get the show on the road. That's bottom line. And let's go out and make it happen. And let's figure out your game plan. Oh yeah, just talking about making the adjustments and all that. With that, also, man, this little brochure the company sent on how people focus on winning the incentive trips. We've got the Run for the Sun, we've got the incentive for Hawaii and all that stuff. And the message is, we usually have 2 of these a year, these incentive trips. And, you really need to have a goal of winning every trip. And, I read through the responses in here, and basically there was about 20 leaders sharing, well, this is what we do to focus on. And, to winning these trips. And basically every one of them said the same thing to me. Really, they focus on it. They focus on it. They think about it. They talk about it. They talk about it to their team. They think about it. They think about what it's going to be like to be, on the beach, right? And or wherever we're going at that point. But also, what's incredible. Matter of fact, we used to have a joke that on these trips, whatever, you go on the beach and like somebody like me may look like a beached whale, or whatever. But anyway, but you focus on it, you think about it, you talk about it. You got to talk about what you focus on expands. And so, but, I was thinking too, really, if you just do like 2x5 on the bookends, I know there's different ways you can win investments, all the different products we do, services. But to me, I've always made it priority to focus on the bookends, but because if I focus on the bookends, that means I'm promoting people. I'm building leadership, which will give me RVPs, which RVPs will give you ownership and the income and all that stuff. But also the biggest part of that is the thing that I love the most is, I was talking to the home office yesterday. The thing I love most is raising up leaders. I just love, I love seeing people get their promotions, accomplish their goals. I love seeing people being willing to put themselves through Hades. Either you put yourself through it or life will, right? Either way, you're going to hell and back, right? I mean, there's no easy trip, right? And but the thing about it is, what's great about this is when I see people willing to pay that price, man, and then seeing them accomplish their goal and walk across that stage or whatever, then man, that's inspiring. I think if you do just personally 2x5, 2 recruits a month, and 5K and with your name on either field training or personal transactions, 2x5K, that's about 5 term sales a month, 2 recruits a month. I think if you do that, you're going to win every trip, right? You're going to win every trip. That's 2 paid trips a year. But the best thing that happens there is you meet people, other people that are doing the same thing you're doing, but you also get better because you're sitting there having breakfast, and then there's somebody up, a leader up sharing about here's how to win. Here's what their game plan is. And you're sitting there and you're coming home refreshed, but you're charged up too, because you've made probably 20 adjustments while you were there. Folks, I think Jill and I have missed maybe 1 trip in decades because I understood the value of it. You just got to figure out what price you're willing to pay. I think the 2x5 and just go do that. And then I can simplify it even more, right? And I'm getting ready to turn it over to Jill here, but let me tell you a little game plan. This changed my life. This changed my life right here. Okay, it hit me one day that I had the thought, David, would you be willing to discipline yourself? If I could give you one thing that you could discipline yourself 2 hours a week, 2 hours a week, and it would change your whole career here. You would absolutely knock it out of the park. If I could give you one thing that you could do and only do it 2 hours a week, but it would guarantee you financial independence from now on. By the way, I'm going to close today talking about how to manage your money, right? But if I could give you that formula, 2 hours a week, you do this one thing, okay? And you know what that one thing is? Scheduling activity. In 2 hours a week, it hit me. I said, you know what? If I can just discipline myself 2 hours a week of scheduling, of just picking up that 500-pound telephone, and every time you pick it up, it drops a couple of pounds, right? To where you don't even think about it, you just do it. You get a spare minute, do it again. Call somebody else. Who do you call? First of all, call everybody you know, right? But anyway, and then people that you meet. And so as you go through life. But anyway, in 2 hours a week, you can schedule minimum of 15 appointments, direct appointments, which is the best way to work your life because you're building it around your schedule. You just got to figure out your schedule and who you're going to see, their schedule, get those to match up and go have coffee with people and talk about life. And I mean, you don't want to go have some marathon meeting. Let me tell you, if you're having an appointment, this is a side note, no charge for this one. If you have an appointment and you're you've got an appointment lasting more than an hour, man, you need to take the scissors to that, whatever you're doing, and start cutting stuff out, right? Man, get in there and get out. If you're doing Zoom, I love Zoom, but I love in-person things too. But go in there and just have a conversation with people, no more than an hour. But you do that 2 hours a week, just schedule activity. And here's the thing that I found, okay? Because I'm not very, I can be disciplined, right? But the thing that changed my career here, I said, man, if I spend 2 hours a week and I discipline myself on that 2 hours just to schedule, I knew I could schedule at least 15 appointments in that 2 hours. And then the thing that I found, the magic was, I found that once I got it scheduled, I would make myself go on the appointment. It's very rare, unless I was on my deathbed, that this dude has ever canceled an appointment. I'll low crawl to an appointment once I get it set. And then once I go, then I'm glad I went, because halfway through it, I'm saying, man, this is fun. I'm enjoying meeting these people. And through the doing it, you start feel like doing it. By the end of the week, you're not sleeping at night because you're so fired up. It doesn't matter if somebody says no. It doesn't matter if 10 of them say no. I mean, after the 1 hour meeting with them, if 10 of them say no and 5 of them say yes, you don't care about the 10 that said no, because you got so many good things happening. You're making 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week, right? And then all you got to do is that week, just in between your activity, just another 2 hours of scheduling, another 2 hours of scheduling. And then what happens is I hire a Mike Neighbors. I didn't, but Mike is an example. But anyway, I hire a Mike Neighbors, and then he wants to do it. He's willing to put his hand to the plow just like me. Why is he willing to do that? Because people do what people see, okay? And then next thing you know, I'm telling him to discipline himself 2 hours a week. And then he's calling people, and then he's taking me to his mother, his brother, his best friend, and I'm not even scheduling anymore. All I'm doing is recruiting daytime coffee with people. I just recruit, and then I tell them how to get started. The ones that are hungry are willing to put their hand to the plow, and he's willing to put me in front of 5 people a week, 10 people a week, whatever, right? And I do that about a month with him, and then I break him out on his own. Next thing you know, he's doing it. And then through my scheduling, I'm just doing more recruiting, more building. I'm getting better. And then next thing you know, there's 2 of us, there's 3 of us, there's 5, there's 10. And then we're going on 50 appointments a week between us, right? And next thing you know, man, I'm an RVP, right? I'm just telling you, but it all starts with that 2 hours a week of just making yourself do that. Then you'll go do the work. And then as you do the work, you'll start to enjoy it and have fun at it. And you will enjoy the journey, and you'll have the trip of your life, right? So with that, like I said, I'm going to come back and I'm going to close. Yeah, I'll be able to get to my managing money. Yeah.
Okay,
but
good.
Okay, Jill, you go for it.
When David covers managing money, I can tell you that's not my least, that's probably my least favorite topic. But that's what we all need to do, and I'm sure it will be good. But there's always I don't know. Yeah, we're both spenders and savers, I think. I just wanted to share with you, thank you for jumping on this Saturday morning. I've been thinking about, this is one of those mornings that I told God this morning, I said, if you don't show up, I'm in trouble. You ever have mornings like that? You're just like, okay. But I pulled some stuff, thoughts from talks I've given before that I feel are very key. This is kind of some unplugged. This is just kind of I guess, locker room talk with you guys, because I know that what we all want for each other is to win together, don't we? I mean, we all want to win together. We all want to accomplish those goals and dreams. I know a lot of your goals and dreams, and they're amazing. They're unselfish, and they're, you know, a lot of them are about taking care of people, and particularly your family and things like that. So how to thrive here, how to thrive in our business. And the first point, you know, a lot of times my first point is the one I think people aren't going to listen to, because it's kind of the thing that you hear over and over. And I think we do all kind of have a tendency to become dull of hearing. And I'm looking at most of these people on here. A lot of you I know have been here a while, some of you not though, because, you know, if you want to put a foundation in your business, the foundation has to be that you build on, you know, has to be total commitment. And that might happen in layers. For us, it did. I didn't start out committed. You know, I started out the investigator. I was trying to figure out what was wrong. I knew something was wrong. I just wasn't sure what. And I was determined I was going to find out what was wrong. But, you know, after I sat in that meeting with Angela at Point Clear, not Point Clear, at Sea Island, Georgia, I left and I made a commitment. And then our first trip to Hawaii, when I sat in that family and marriage workshop and listened to James Dobson, I made another layer of commitment. Next thing you know, I realized we're totally committed. We got to a point where we're totally committed here, right? But total commitment for us meant, first of all, in our faith. We tried to do it our own way for a long time. And I'm telling you, it got us nowhere but frustrated. So we went from that, so total commitment there, a total commitment to each other. And y'all, that's not easy. That's not always easy. You know, I saw, you know, that movie Up. It's about the couple that grow old together, and how he's taking care of her as she's older. And it was talking about marriages that, you know, great relationships are there because you fight for it, right? Because you recognize it and you fight for it. So total commitment to each other. But then at some point in business, we made a total commitment to this vehicle. And when you're totally committed, and what I tell people all the time, when you're totally committed, it shows. And when you go to that kitchen table or you're talking to that prospect, they see that in you. And people join you when they come to work with you. They do business with you when you're totally committed. And if they're, to me, maybe this is just me because I'm a partner and I've built with David. We've built this business side by side for 43 years. The first layer after that foundation for me is partnership, you know, and I tell people all the time, man, if you have a partner, build a partnership. If you don't have a partner, build a business, right? And the thing we love to say is if you build it, they will come. You know, I think I see too many people that come in here single and they're looking for a spouse, kind of like the bumper sticker I saw that said, mirror, mirror on the wall, make him rich, make him tall. You know, that doesn't necessarily work. You know, I learned at JH Ranch when we went out there to see Tommy, and I listened to a few of the talks. They said one of the things they teach those kids, it says you're attracted to looks and personality, but you marry character. You marry character, and that's what's going to matter in the end. And, you know, they tell you to don't worry about finding the right one. Worry about becoming the right one. Just worry about becoming the right one. The right one will find you. You know, and if you're a partner, so if you don't have a partner, build a business. If you're a partner, just decide to be a blessing. That sounds kind of like an oversimplification, you know, and I think I mess that up a lot. I know I do. You know, I tell you people about the time David and I were sitting in church and the pastor was preaching on heavenly sandpaper. And he said, that's what wives are. They're heavenly sandpaper. And they rub off all your rough edges. And I elbowed Dave, right? The elbow. He got the elbow in church. And I said, that's it. I'm sandpaper. And he looked straight at me and he said, Jill, you're a dadgum chainsaw. He said, you're not sandpaper, you're a chainsaw. So I messed this up. I don't always walk this out, but it's definitely the cry of my heart, you know. You know, I think I got it from a Stormy and Martian book, this prayer for your husband. God, if he pleases you, he pleases me. If he pleases you, man, when you're going through a tough time, to pray that prayer is a powerful thing. If he pleases you, he pleases me. If he doesn't please you, then you change him. Because the other option is this prayer that I found. It says, I pray for wisdom to understand my man, love to forgive him, and patience for his moods. Because Lord, if I prayed for strength, I'd beat him to death. So every once in a while, I feel like that too. But I think you need to understand that partnership is just key in building a business together and getting on the same page and pulling the same direction. You know, I think partners need to understand they really are kryptonite. They are kryptonite. And just like, you know, the enemy knew All he had to do to get to Adam was what? Deceive Eve. Eve could handle Adam, right? You got to cover. You got to cover. It doesn't mean you don't confront. There are things we have to confront, in life and partnership, building a business together. There are times you need to confront, but you do that privately. You don't expose. And I see people do that. I've been standing in a ladies' room, in a group ladies' room, hearing women just trash talk their partner, their husband. And it's, man, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I heard this is a funny Dan Hall story. I got this from Dan. Says I steal all of his good ones and everybody thinks they're mine. So I'm giving him credit for this. He said, this is a couple. I think this is an actual couple. This couple said, the man said, when I was married 25 years, I took a long look at my wife one day and said, honey, 25 years ago, we had a cheap apartment, a cheap car, slept on a sofa, and I watched a 10-inch black and white TV. But I got to sleep every night with a hot 25-year-old blonde. Now we have a nice house, a nice car, a big bed, plasma screen TV, but I'm sleeping with a 50-year-old woman. It seems to me you're not holding up your side of things. So he said, my wife, being a very reasonable woman, told me to go out and find a hot 25-year-old blonde, and she would make sure I'd once again be living in a cheap apartment, driving a cheap car, and sleeping on a sofa bed. And that's kind of how that goes. I think the other thing that's real key and what David said and what we all go through is, and I think I talked about this last time, I know I did on training, but I think it's so important is how you react when things get bad, how you react when you hit a wall, how you react when adversity shows up, because adversity and challenges are part of life. And how we handle them says a lot about who we are and where we're headed. The fire will warp or refine you. It can warp you. You can react the wrong way to the fire and be warped by the fire. You can react the right way and be refined by it and go to the next level. Joyce Meyer says it this way: you can be pitiful or powerful, but you can't be both. And you really have to choose. Am I going to be pitiful in this? Am I going to be a victim in this? Or am I going to be powerful and be an overcomer? And you got to get good at making lemonade. I mean, David just used to make a game out of making lemonade. He can find the silver lining in the cloud. I do know adversity is inevitable, it's inescapable, but it has a purpose. I think it has a purpose. It gives us our identity. I've told people for years that until you really know what it is you're willing to fight for, do you really even know who you are? It molds your character, it brings strength, it gives you humility, and it teaches us how to fight. Another warning, this is kind of a warning more than a how-to. This is a be careful. This is a be careful. If failure doesn't get you, success will. And I've seen that played out across the board in people's lives. And, I've always loved the story of King David. And, King David was at the top of his game. Israel's golden age. They had reached from the Euphrates to Egypt. And he was a fearless fighter. He was a successful military commander. He had the heart of a poet. He had it all, and he fell prey to temptation of flesh, peace, and plenty. Flesh, peace, and plenty. I remember David telling me about being in that hot tub and how that he just said, man, a life of purpose and passion is better than a life of leisure and pleasure. I believe we're created to apply ourselves to meaningful tasks. And I love a comeback. I loved watching some of the story. I know it's horrible what's happened to Tiger Woods, but you see these people that make these comebacks that kind of people think, they hit a slump, and then you see them come back and you have so much respect for them, because it's really about how you emerge from a trial that tells everybody who you are. It's how you emerge that tells everybody who you are. So I know a lot of you think about too, what we're sowing, sowing and reaping. This is just 4 laws of sowing and reaping. I got these from Dan Hall too, and they are so true. Number 1 is you will reap if you sow. That's just a law. You can't get around that. You will reap if you sow. Number 2, you will reap what you sow. And man, we can sow good things. We can sow positive things. We can sow negative things. But and that kind of terrifies me. And every once in a while, I think we need to examine our seeds that we're putting in the ground, making sure we're putting the right things in the ground. You will reap more than you sow. So, man, put good seeds in the ground to reap a good harvest. Like David talked about that activity, 2 hours a week of putting that good seed in the ground, then going out and seeing those families. And you know what happens? You get better and better and better. You gain confidence, and the elephant starts to fly. And number 4 is you reap later than you sow. It takes time to build a base shop. It takes time to build a hierarchy. It takes time to build your income. But if you do the right things consistently and sow those right seeds in the ground over and over and over, it happens. It will happen. My last thing is just, and I don't know if this is exactly what all you needed to hear this morning. I think this might be what I needed to hear this morning. I think I'm preaching to me more than anybody else. But everything, I don't remember where I've read this or got this from. Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you ask for. You know, when you got a big goal, man, there's some obstacles between you and that goal. And, you know, I've had people say, man, I feel broken. You know, broken girls can blossom into great warriors. Broken people can blossom into great warriors. Great things can happen when you get to the end of yourself. You know, the butterfly is proof that beauty can emerge from something that's absolutely fallen apart. And I just want to challenge anybody that's going through a tough time, you know, really just pick yourself up, dust yourself off. As my mother would say, put on some lipstick, pull yourself together, Jill, put on some lipstick. I've told people mother's house could have caught on fire and she would put on lipstick before she ran outside. And let's go finish this. Let's go finish this. Let's go do what we came here to do. So I appreciate that. I hope that helped somebody. I hope that wasn't just for me. I appreciate this guys and this team. And I know now David goes on to money management. So
hey, no, Jill, man, that's powerful. I just got a text from Ralph and Larry. They sent me it, but Larry O'Connor. I talked about Jerry, his new senior rep, but Larry's there in a meeting. She's with Larry. He said you can tell about her. She's done 3 recruits and 3 term outs. Last one she did at start to finish. She's 72 and has energy and vibrancy that would make us all jealous, right?
That's awesome.
So wherever you are, man, wow, whether you're young or older, man, look, you know, it's incredible. I had one of our VPs up in Ohio, Cincinnati, Chuck Futel. He used to be, he was an engineer with Procter and Gamble, and left and came here in Primerica. In a meeting the other day, he said, David, man, I'm so thankful, because he said, if I were with Procter and Gamble, he said, they would be putting me out to pasture at my age. But he said, man, to be here, and he was talking about his residual income, okay, is basically almost 100,000 a year now, just residual income. I mean, why would you ever retire from here? And, but you can go do that and go out there and keep dreaming, keep building, you know, but you do what you want to do when you want to do it. And you've got your own company. That's incredible, and something that you can pass on. One of the things, and I could just little things that I'm trying to share each week. Some of them are just reminders. You know, we talked about being that contrarian. In other words, contrarians, they don't follow the crowd. They do the opposite of what most people do. So we've got to be contrarians. The other thing too, whatever game plan you do, make it a simple one. The simpler, the better. Again, people do what people see. And if people see you as something really complicated, I'm gonna be thinking, oh man, I don't know that I could do that, right? But if you have a simple game plan, the other thing too, you got to be able to handle distractions, right? And just if something knocks you off, a distraction, well, you may have to deal with it, whatever. But immediately, when you're distracted, man, alarms need to go off in your brain, saying, "Oh Lord, I'm distracted. I got to get back on target. Got to get back on track." You can have a bad day, man. Don't ever have a bad week, right? Especially don't have a bad month. Hell, you're in business. You can't have a bad month. You may have a bad day or a bad morning, but buddy, hey, somebody's going to want to be paid, right? You know, and it takes money to run a company. That's why you got to focus on money. Focus on your activity and the dollars will chase you. Okay. But you got to have that game plan. So distractions, it's kind of like that Kevin Costner movie where he was a pitcher.
Yeah.
What's the name of that movie?
I don't remember.
Anyway, but all the noise of the crowd, and he would just kind of, in the movie, naturally, he would just quiet and focus on what he needed to do. That's what we have to be. We have to be able to handle those distractions. Okay, now, okay, let's talk about managing your money. I got 15 minutes. Okay, managing your money. Okay, so. Okay, first of all, in setting this up, you're gonna be worn out. I've said this before. You're gonna be worn out, right? Either from working or worry, right? Worry, I don't know about y'all, but worry is like exhausting to me. Working, I mean, probably one of the best things in life is to work. I heard somebody say one time, one of the three best things in life is get tired and go sleep, work and then rest, or be hungry and eat, right? They're just great feelings. When you're working, you're naturally you're going to get tired, but you get so focused on what you're doing, especially as I said earlier, you're going to be having breakthroughs. So what I focused on, what I learned to focus on was, man, look, I may have problems I'm worried about and all that stuff, but I found if I just went to work and just put my hand to the plow, then you can't work and worry at the same time, and then by working, you begin to handle your problem, right? And so by working. So see, as a matter of fact, I thought of this too years ago, that money really is not worth worrying about, right? It's really not worth it. I mean, really the best, just go handle the problem, and you handle that by working. Let me tell you, the best financial strategy is to make more money, right? I mean, give yourself a raise every year, right? Play offense, heck with defense, right? I mean, every once in a while, and Jill and I used to do this, Art would coach us on every once in a while, because, your budget builds up fat in it, just like the government, especially, of course, they just print more, right? They don't ever cut expenses, the government. That's why we're going to be bankrupt one day. But anyway, but you, every once in a while, probably several times a year, you need to look at your budget and you need to try to cut expenses maybe 20%, right? And you got to constantly do that, but like that's once or twice a year, right? Other than that, man, go play offense and make more income, right? If something breaks, have the income just to go fix it rather than worry about it, right? I mean, just go fix it. That's one of the best things that I've enjoyed of the income is, if life is going to happen to all of us, unexpected things are going to happen. So, I mean, when somebody comes to me with a problem, well, just write a check, right? I mean, if something breaks, fix it. I'm not going to sit there and worry about it. I'm going to focus on making more. Okay. And, but anyway, I could go on more. I heard that one time that if you can write a check for something, it's not a problem. Your definition of a bad day can change real quick, right? With a health crisis, or you losing a family member, whatever. But anyway, so and thinking about your money, okay, to me, that ties into vision too. You got to have a vision. What is vision to me is taking nothing and beginning to see something out of nothing, right? About, where you can go. So your vision is about the future, where you're headed, but you're seeing something out of nothing. And then vision, to me, as you move toward your vision, it becomes reality. It kind of unfolds as you move toward it. One of the things that one of the quotes, one of my favorite quotes is that business is the most fascinating kind of art, right? I just have always loved the idea that, man, I could take here and I could take like this vehicle, and I could take nothing, see something, begin to see myself accomplishing that and putting forth the effort. And then as it becomes reality, I just love the creative aspect of this business, that I could actually take this weekend and come up with 10 things that I'm going to focus on starting next week, that I know it's going to move my business. And then being able to look back a month later and see that the needle's starting to move, right? Now, sometimes it may take 30, 60, 90 days for your activity to show up and results. You got to be willing to go through that. Don't get discouraged by that. But the other thing I think you got to think about when it comes to your money, as far as a game plan, you got to figure out what you're worth here financially. And, based on your experience, based on, what you know how to do, what are you worth? What are you worth a week? What are you worth a month? Okay. So let's just say that you've been here X amount of time, you've got this much experience, and you say, well, you know what? I'm still doing it on the side. But I'm worth 2,000 a month. To me, there's no one should have a goal of less than 2,000 a month in income, even part-time, right? That should be a part-time minimum, 2,000 a month. And I remember thinking that when I came in, I said, you know what? I'm licensed now, and I said I'm worth 500 a week, and that's what I started out at, 500 a week, and so I made myself. I said, okay, if I don't make $500, then that means I'm not as good as I think I am, right? That's how personally you have to take it that strongly, okay? That I'm worth 500 a week. And then once you so you got to break through those comfort zones. Once you make 500 a week for a month, well, what happens then? Well, you're better now, right? So you need to give yourself a raise. So okay, now I'm worth 700 a week, or 3,000 a month, and then a month later up at another 500. So then you start operating at that standard. That becomes your standard. And again, if you don't do it, you're not as good as you think you are. Okay. And just accept that. Okay. What you going to do about it? You going to get mad or sad? If you get sad, then you're not a contrarian. So you got to get ticked off. I've never done anything. I've never done anything big in this business till I got pissed off, right? Excuse the expression, but I'll say it like ticked off, right? And these people that think they're going to tiptoe through the tulips with violins playing in the background, hell, that's not my story, right? It can be frustrating, okay? But give yourself raises, because here's the thing: if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. Okay. And so then thinking about your budget, and Art gave us this formula. I could go back and look up at the Primerica Way book or A. Williams Way book, and I can't remember the exact formula, but seems like it was like you take 25% of your income and you save it or give, savings, giving 25% of what you made, okay, here. And then you 25% you put back for taxes. One of the best things you can do, right, when you get going is get you a good accountant, CPA, but get one that works, that will be creative and help you. Man, you need to be, if you go somewhere, like we went to the mountains, we spent some money, right? But we were doing Primerica. Okay. And so it's a write-off, the trip. So to me, you shouldn't pay 25% taxes if you're keeping up with your expenses, da, 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 da. But you have to do that. Okay. You got to put back money for taxes. Then the other 50%, spend it on, household and business, maybe 25% on each, right? And so anyway, and give yourself a raise. But the other thing that I learned to do, and this really was great, is, and I think I thought of this, right? I probably did.
Sure
I probably
you did.
heard it somewhere. Yeah.
That's probably my idea.
Yeah, it's probably Jill's. But anyway, I came up with the idea, or somebody told me about it, whatever. At some point, I said, you know what I'm going to do, there's bad pressure and good pressure. Bad pressure is like a debt on something that doesn't appreciate. Okay. Like, to me, buying a home, it's good debt. I mean, you borrow cheap money, you control a larger asset with like I built my office building, you know, and pay down the principal every month, get tax write-off on it. That's good debt. And it's gone up the last 10 years, probably close to $1 million, right? Well, so that's good debt. But there's thinking about pressure, what you could do, here's what you ought to do, especially if you're part-time here, if you're doing it still on the side, because until this becomes a priority to you, you're not going to do it. I've never seen anybody build a big part-time. I think it's a good way to stick your foot in the water, make sure this is what you want to do. But next to that, man, you got to prove that you can make income here. And that's why my fourth month, when I'm earned $3,489, I told Jill, I said, hey, man, I'm gonna kill it, because I'm doing the health club, college, and this, and I just made $3,489 42 years ago. And I knew at that point, man, I knew I could double my income if I were full time. So you may say, okay, if you're making $6,000 a month in your current career, let's just say, then get your income up to $3,000 a month here, and then you can double it once you come full time. You're not having to chase two rabbits, right? And so that's a real key thing. But if you are part time, or if you're full time, whatever, what you ought to do is get with a securities licensed person in your business, and fill out a mutual fund application. And let's just say, start it for, you can open the account for like $50 or whatever. So write a check, open the account. Okay. And then you can schedule increases and start the draft, the first electronic transfer, in 60 days for $500 or $1,000 or whatever you want it to be. Make it be something that'll stretch you a little bit, right? But something that also will inspire you. Okay. So now what happens is now you've opened an account for $50. January 10th, they're going to take out 1,000. So that means what's going to happen is, between now and January, what do you got to go do, right? That means then all of a sudden, Primerica is not just some little optional thing. It's like all of a sudden, hell, this is like a real business. My Lord, man, this is like, see, let me tell you, I mean, I've had office expenses. I see people that they don't have any expenses. I think, what, man, you need to spend some money. You need to get some pressure on you, right? But that's kind of bad pressure, but this is good pressure, because it means you're going to be saving and investing money. So all of a sudden, now what's going to happen between now and January, you're going to probably take your game up, right? And then one of two things is going to happen January 10th. Either you're going to be scrambling to put a stop payment on that electronic transfer, okay, which also tells you that tells you volumes about you, right? And about, you've got to be like me. You've got to have something to where you say, okay, like that 2 hours a week of discipline, you know what I mean? You probably didn't do that. Okay, so you got to get back on your game. So don't get discouraged about it if you have to do that. But hopefully you won't have to do that. And so hopefully you will go out there, get the work done, and then all of a sudden, you got that $1,000 in that account to be electronically transferred out. And then all of a sudden, January 10th hits, and then you get that statement and you think, my Lord, man, that is good pressure, folks. And then what you do, if you really want to get fun with it, then like every 90 days, increase it $500 more a month, right? Automatic increase, 500. So that means by the end of the next 12 months, then now you're saving 3,000 a month. Hey, folks, I started doing that. And next thing you know, I was putting like 20 grand a month back, just every month, 20 grand a month being taken out of my account. I did that years and years ago. And the thing about it is when you play at that game, it gets so much fun because it's almost like it's good pressure in that it made me always think about growing my business. Because I was saving so much money, it was like painful. I was thinking, crap, I got to grow. This hurts, right? But next thing you know, you're accomplishing your goals and your dreams and your team's growing. And so it's just like, to me, it's another technique, kind of like the 2 hours a week of discipline, and then put a little good pressure on you, okay? And then you're going to start to accomplish those goals and dreams. And so to me, that's my my money management game plan. And so
For the love of the game, that's that movie.
For the love of the game. Yeah, for the love of the game, Kevin Costner, when he kind of zeroes out the noise, that's the way you got to be on that mound, right? Because everybody's watching, and you need to think about that, right? Everybody's watching, right? Your family's watching you, your friends are watching you, all the people that you told them you're going to do this, they're watching, they're in the stands, and you're out there on that mound. And man, you got to zero out that noise and focus on what you can control and get those goals and dreams and go out there and make it happen. Okay, it's 2 minutes over. So we are sorry about that. But hey, I appreciate all of you. So again, next Saturday, annual compliance meeting. Many of you don't have to do that because you just got licensed or whatever, but you're welcome to tune in 9 a.m. Central. And it's not going to hurt you because you begin to learn what you can do and what you can't do, right? And that's important. Business protection, we call it. And that is a great thing. So, but anyway, and then Wednesday at 4 p.m., we're going to do it also, both Central Time this coming Wednesday. But other than that, man, we've got some good things planned. We appreciate all of you. And man, let's go have a big November. And it's a great time of year, right? And let's think about this weekend, what adjustments we're going to make, get that game plan, get your mutual fund filled out. If you're not licensed, I'll be glad to do it for you personally. No, I'm kidding. No, but get with your RVP or whatever and get that going, even if it starts at $250 a month or $500, whatever will stretch you a little bit, whatever will inspire you, then do that. So y'all have a great weekend. We appreciate you.